Hey guys, today we are going to be talking about Hamptons interior design. The Hamptons style was actually one of, if not the first requests I got when I started my Build Like a Nerd series nearly 2 years ago. However, after doing a little digging, I realized that Hamptons was more of an interior design and overall aesthetic style than a set architecture type. As you know, I am not much of a decorator, but that's why I am so excited to finally bring you the Design Like a Nerd series. Like any good nerd, I know when I'm beat, so I asked fellow creator The Decorista to help me out with this one. As usual, I'm going to give you a bit of a history behind the style, but after I do that, Decorista's actually going to jump in and give you sort of a designer's take on the style, as well as which items from which packs are going to work best. The Hamptons interior design style is an American coastal style developed in the 19th and 20th centuries in the Hamptons Islands off Long Island, New York. Even though it started in the northeastern US, it has become popular in nearly every American coastline area as well as Canada, Australia, and Europe. It's a calm style full of elegance, natural materials, soft colors, and lots of textures. Due to the location of origin, it is most commonly found in large colonial homes, shingle Victorians, farmhouse-style homes, and modern and contemporary homes, all of which generally have large windows, tall ceilings, and light color palettes. Indoor-outdoor living is a big part of the style, which makes sense since it's basically a rich person's beach vacation as interior design. Inside and out, we are looking for simple shapes, tall ceilings and windows, open floor plans, lots of wood and white and more white, and a welcoming atmosphere. Hampton spaces are generally large or designed to appear that way and full of high-end and unique materials like quality fabrics, heirlooms, ceramics, driftwood, and other found elements. Historically, it has relied on lots of white on white, muted colors, symmetry, open space, and traditional nautical elements like bold stripes and simple forms. Modern renditions, often called New Hamptons, are introducing bolder colors and more unique shapes and items. Traditional colors include white, beige, cream, eggshell, tan, and assorted pale blues with the occasional black or navy piece. New Hampton style has been introducing more color with vibrant yellows, turquoises, and greens being used on larger and larger items, like couches, walls, or even kitchen cabinets. Whether you go the traditional route or not, a mix of elements is still key. It's common to see furniture and decor from farmhouse, French country, modern, mid-century, boho, contemporary, Victorian, Baroque, Rococo, and more styles thrown into the mix. Wood, which can be painted or stained or simply sealed and left its natural color, is a must for furniture, cabinetry, floors, windows, and sometimes walls and ceilings as well. Metals can be almost any color or finish, including black, white, gold, silver, nickel, brass, bronze, pewter, and steel, but will generally be seen as accents and have light silhouettes to not appear too heavy. Glass and ceramic pieces are also common for decor. Fabrics for curtains, rugs, pillows, blankets, and furniture include natural fibers, solid neutrals, timeless prints, and almost never leather. Leather is a heavy material and doesn't generally have a place in the Hampton style. You will also see lots of woven materials like wicker furniture and baskets. You can avoid making your home look too sterile by making sure you add lots of decor items and warm woods. Tiles in bathrooms and kitchen are often rectangular in shape but have soft colors, patterns, or are laid out in unique ways that break up what could be a stark and sterile area. As far as layout, due to the large size of the homes, you will see casual dining space in the kitchen as well as a separate formal dining room and outdoor dining and living spaces as well if the property allows. The large size of the room also lends itself to oversized furniture that is often found in the style. The tall ceilings support pendant lights and chandeliers, long flowing curtains, and grand fireplaces. As always, you can find all of the resources for this video and more in the linked Pinterest board. There is a section full of custom content for those of you who may like to use it, but today's video will be using in-game assets only. So there's a quick history of the style. Decorista, what have you come up with?
So I created these vignettes that represent the different packs and kits for this kind of design, but there's also a very huge base game vignette room. So you definitely have all of the things you need to create a beautiful Hamptons build. The bed options, the varnish, and the soothing sleeper, which are more modern or traditional or transitional. You have lots of bathroom and kitchen options. Escargot cabinetry is always just super classic, really lovely, works with everything. These bamboozle blinds, again, for like woven textured naturals. Lots of good window treatments in the base game as far as Hamptons. Lots of outdoor options. But if you do decide and you want to add some packs to your gameplay, these are some packs that I recommend. The first and foremost would be Cats and Dogs. It is the pack that came with the Brindleton Bay world, which is very much like a Hamptons New England world. These rugs are simply wonderful. It's all the same exact marvelous mega mat. All of these patterns here are the same rug. Some great art options, some really good materials, top-notch fireplace, and a lot of different swatches could work well. This hutch is a great large focal point. Good beds, the modern colonial and the seaside loner. Just an all-around good pack. I'd say it's like, a family home. This is island living. It's, a coastal, more of a beach pack, but I picked the things that kind of cross over between coastal and beach. And this is especially desirable if you really want to add in a lot of the rattans, the wickers, the natural elements, because you'll see that and it adds texture and it adds depth to some, palette that can be pretty simple. Wonderful outdoor lounging options. These ottomans work great in so many applications. I love this little pergola. And speaking of pergolas, the Get Together expansion is, this pergola is fantastic from Debug and could really amp up your outdoor space. Real nice juxtaposition of modern and sort of antique or transitional lines. This pack too would add a lot of versatility, and you could go modern or you could be eclectic or you could go more traditional. Really love these cabinets a lot. So gorgeous. I love those pulls. They have an elegant simplicity, and these lights come in so many great colorways for this style. Growing together. This I did not have on my top list at the beginning, but then I went to decorate and I use this mirror a lot, this wicker work oval mirror, and I needed to use it so bad. So I added in this pack. And then when I started digging into it, though, I found so many more amazing things. I realized, oh yeah, this stove and refrigerator that I love to use are in this pack. Great woven beds. Again, you get some naturals with this, and you get some caning. You get these sofas are a little bit mid-century inspired, but these wonderful pillows as well as the chairs. Really fantastic fireplace option. Very classic. Could go in a lot of different types of environment. Great wall art as well. And then, the haughty herringbone tiles, just timeless. It's elegant. So any sort of high-end, nice, fancy build could definitely behoove having that. And then one I wouldn't have thought of, but when I really thought about it, high school years, you think of that as an Art Deco pack, but it has a lot of the bohemian, and again, the really nice naturals, the bed, and then some of the bed coverings are really pretty and have some beautiful neutrals. And these curtains, oh my gosh, the lovely layered curtains. And this also brings in more of the seafoam teal, almost like a turquoise, like a seafoam turquoise. Also, I chose this pack for these cushy sofas. Really elegant lines, had the throw, all the soft things, the luxe pillows, the pretty patterns. And you really need the cozy in this style. That's part of it. That covers the expansions. We have 2 game packs, the Dream Home Decorator and Parenthood. So Dream Home Decorator is just a good all around. It's got a lot of really clean, high-end looking furniture, just sophisticated looking furniture and lines. It could fit in so many places, beautiful patterns. Not a lot of wall patterns, only this one here, the trilateral ornamentations. And only really this one works with Hamptons. The other ones are a little more mod groovy, Art Deco. And then we have the Parenthood pack, really solid offering for this style. And especially I think family homes, young kids, this could be a great pack to combine with base game. The kitchen stuff is phenomenal. This paneling with tile is really gorgeous, and so many options that can work. Wonderful rugs. This large printed rug is the same. These are more kind of like outdoor sofas, but I think you could get away with the indoor, especially like this wood one here. Good sheer drapes you could put on the windows when you don't want too much, but you want something, or you could put solid drapes on the outside if it's a more formal Hamptons house. And lastly, we have kits, and that's Riviera Retreat and Modern Luxe. So Modern Luxe, I kind of put together this vignette just to show just very luxury glamour. It's like Glamptons. If you want to add a little bit of that, a little bit of old Hollywood, Hamptons. I think there's a lot of really good classics. These chairs are great. The Avant chair, the bed is always wonderful. And then the Riviera Retreat, just if you're really wanting that, Euro Luxe upscale. And again, it provides some fun colors, your textures, your woven furniture, a lot of good rich neutrals and blues, again, a by the seashore kind of style. And then the cabana curtains are just fantastic. And this floor tile and these two of the wall tiles, the other ones are pretty loud. I just think don't fit the softer palette. This is kind of what Build by Hamptons that I put together. So thank you guys so much, and I really enjoyed being part of this video series.
Now that we know what we're doing, let's lay down some ground rules. To keep this distinct from both the Build Like a Nerd and Rebuild Like a Nerd series, I am going to leave the structure mostly alone. We won't be adjusting any walls, and we'll be keeping any adjustments to windows or doors to a bare minimum. Let me know what you think of this arrangement in the comments down below. Now, the first thing I'm actually going to do here is warm up the space by changing out this floor. The gray is just so dull. Now, I would either use this one if we're trying to keep it quite bright, or possibly this one to keep it a bit muted but still on the warmer side. Now let's get all this old furniture out of here. Whoa, not quite like that. The wall height I will leave alone, but the windows being so low on the wall is really bothering me, so I'm just going to press F5 and move them up. I know that you might not be able to do this if you're actually redoing your home, but I can do it here, so I'm going to. Also, I would love to have a wall of windows, and I think this wall is going to be a great candidate, so I'm just going to take two of these. With holding Alt, I should be able to get them to line up fairly well. There we go. That will be acceptable. Now I am also going to repaint these to be white. Another thing that I feel like we're missing here is a fireplace, so I'm going to place one here. This one from Cats and Dogs would work pretty well, although it does feel a bit large for the space. For today, I'm actually going to go with this one. Simple patterns, but still detailed, nice thick posts, and overall, definitely a large presence in the room, but it's not quite as overwhelming as one of these much larger ones. Now for the main floor, I think I'm going to stick with more of a classic Hamptons approach and go for lots of that white on white on white. Now do I actually have, I have gray. That's not what I want. I want white. Do I have white with crown molding? I do, but I don't like it. All right. In that case, let's just stick with this plain but pretty, which is all white with just the baseboard. Now for the main living area, let's start with a rug. This rug from Parenthood is actually pretty nice. Parenthood has a few good options as well as Cats and Dogs, like this one, although it's a bit large for our space. Even just these simple base game rugs would work really well. This rug has that woven texture that is so prevalent in the Hamptons style, keeping with the simple but layered textures. Now, I thought that this living room was a great candidate for the sectional sofa, which comes with the Dream Home Decorator pack. So I'll show you how that works. However, if you do not have that, other good options would be something like this from High School Years, possibly this sofa from the Book Nook kit, this one from Growing Together, I believe. I actually really like this one in the space. It's a little bit more modern with that sort of organic shape, but it can work if you pair it with enough traditional elements to keep it from looking too modern. This love seat in a lighter color would be pretty nice as well, or even this one. So simple shapes, but with some texture happening. Let's get this couch put together. So I'm gonna go with white, just this first white swatch that still has the wooden legs. The second white swatch has white legs, and this white swatch has darker legs, but I want to stick with sort of this light to mid-tone wood. And I'm going to select my separate pieces, just like with a counter, and have it loop around. And there's my sectional. Coffee table, same deal. I wouldn't mind something a bit more on the modern side, but I want to make sure it doesn't have too many motifs that are also modern. If your room is big enough, grabbing a larger coffee table would be lovely. However, we don't have that option, do we? I actually quite like this mid-century style table. It works really, really well with our couch in regards to color and shape and everything, but it's not so aggressively mid-century that we can't still keep enough traditional elements and it'll still look like it goes together. And then we're going to go with some armchairs. Now, it would be lovely to have oversized armchairs. However, with, Sims animations and everything, everything's kind of the same size. If anything, we have normal size armchairs and then these slightly smaller looking ones, which are still the same size. They're just a tiny bit shorter on the back to make it look like they're for children. Anyway, we could bring in something that had some wicker or woven texture to it like this. Introduce more textures with a large overstuffed chair like this one, or the nifty knitting. Oh, that's a bit green. I'm trying to stick with blues. Once again, the Book Nook kit could work for this, but I think I'm going to go with this chair from Paranormal because I can do more of the white, except have a little bit of pattern on these chairs, which I like. like. And we also have a side table from the Nifty Knitting Pack that I think would work, or is it Tiny Living? This one from Tiny Living. I thought this would be a good way to introduce a few more of those woven textures and a little bit more color. I also don't think I want to put a TV above this. There's just not quite enough space. So what I'm going to do instead is grab a mirror. I was thinking this one specifically because this can help us bring in some metal, and we can actually raise it with move objects on by pressing our 9 key. Other good mirrors that could work could be a simple circle mirror, although this one does have a light in it which reads pretty aggressively as a bathroom mirror. Or possibly some of these more vintage mirrors. This one in particular is a little bit large for our space, but if we had the taller walls, I think that would look lovely. This mirror also could work pretty well, bringing in some more of that woven texture but overall simple shape. I'm so excited to show you the before and after photos. So let's go to skills and activities. Yoga could well, not that yoga. Yoga could fit, a little bit basic. I would rather bring something that actually has some like decoration to it. A chess table is a classic, of course. I was also thinking about a piano, although this one's a bit ornate for what I'm going for here. Yeah, one of these, and possibly some sort of lounge chair like this, which would be a nice spot to read. This can also help us introduce another side table, which is a great place to add more of these colors and textures. We could go with something more modern with a glass top, maybe bring in more metal, but I was actually thinking about this coffee table in particular right here. I like that it has the fabric on the side, and I think there's a good swatch in here for us. Maybe that one. It is just so very white, but that is kind of what the style is. Over here, because it's right next to the back door, I was thinking a nice sort of closet item would be good. And I don't know why I don't think of this more often, but we have like standing closets. This would work great, or even this one. Cats and Dogs, however, has one in particular that I wanted to put over here. Here we go, because it looks like linen storage, which makes more sense to have here next to this bathroom than in an actual bedroom, in my opinion. And later I am going to place a pool outside, so I was thinking also about some pool towels. There we go, got some pool towels and a coat rack because this is New England. I'd also like to add a small rug here. The Cats and Dogs rugs are lovely, but just this basic rug from the base game would work splendidly as well. This looks like a good spot to actually put that other tall mirror that I was looking at, this one. So let's put that there, and I would love to add a little table here, but that would mean narrowing this archway. Do you suppose we should do that? No, I think that's fine. All right, let's add a little table as well then. See if we can get a good color. Actually, do we want maybe a little bit of a blue wash on it? Or maybe we go with the white again with a little bit of gold. That's our zones pretty much taken care of though. So you know what? Let's start talking about decorations. Curtains are going to be great for a couple of reasons. First of all, layering the texture and the softness, especially since we don't really have that option with extra blankets and pillows and stuff, because that's not how the game works, unfortunately. Also, maybe not so much with this particular set of windows because it is so wide, but in the real life, when you hang your curtains above and to the side of windows, it can help them look larger, and since we do have a gambrel roof going on here, our windows are a bit lower on the wall, so that's just going to be nice, isn't it? We could go with the white if we wanted to, however, I'm already putting so much white on white in here that I think I'll stick with the off-white just to help bring a little bit more warmth in here, you know? Of course, these aren't the only curtains we could use. We could use some of the other ones as well, but one of the reasons I'm sticking with this is because I do have these larger areas of windows to cover, and we can customize the size with the little individual curtain rod bit. These curtains would also work pretty well. Actually, I wonder if we could layer these. Would that look silly? That would look silly. I lied to you. I am so sorry. But then if I want to have a different curtain over here, I might have to switch these out to white so that it matches. Also, I'm pretty sure none of these curtain rod colors actually match the end curtain rod colors like that. That's not a match. This is also not a match, so that's nice. Okay, I think we need some better lighting in here, so let's talk about lamps and lights. In my opinion, a lot of the stuff in The Sims is already fairly oversized. It just doesn't seem to fit in neatly, but the good news is oversize is perfect for this style, so you should be able to stick some lamps in no problem. Same for table lamps. This one from Seasons would work, or this one from Get to Work, which I'm pretty sure I have never once in my life used, so you know what, let's go ahead and put that over here. This one would also be a nice lamp. It has a sort of ceramic pottery base, which is definitely something we could work in, and I think I'm gonna stick with this because it actually matches our little table over here pretty well. Where shall I put you? Can I put you on the piano? I can put you on the piano. Splendid. upon the piano you shall go. For ceiling lamps, this would be a great opportunity to use some high quality chandeliers, which we of course do not have. However, this slightly more modern looking lamp could work pretty well if you are leaning in a more modern direction, which we kind of are in this one. Once again, the Growing Together collection has some nice lamps. This could work, except every time I put this lamp in my build, it bugs out, so we're not going to use it. This one might work as well, or you can just stick with can lights, which keeps everything nice and bright, and you can even shrink them down to the bracket key if you really want to get them out of your way. Speaking of ceiling lights though, this is also a great place to put a ceiling fan, which I feel like we don't get to use very often. Look at all these ceiling decorations that we've never touched because they're dumb. Anyway, I believe we have a couple of base. Don't we have 2 base game ones? We have this one. I thought we had another one. Ah, yes, here we go. This one, which has almost like leaf-shaped blades. There we go. And actually, while we're on the ceiling, let's talk about ceiling textures. It is very common for the style to have vaulted ceilings because big houses, right? It's part of the house style more than the interior decorating style, but because the interior design style is so closely related to specific architectural styles, that overlaps a bit. However, we cannot do vaulted ceilings because we have a second story. We could also do beams on the ceiling, which I'm not going to do in the living room, but I will show you how to do when we go into kitchen and dining. However, what we can do is add some texture to the ceiling. I'm going to go with the cats and dogs flooring again, this white one here, and then paint it across my ceiling like so. There. Isn't that nice? This adds a little bit of rustic texture, helps it feel like a bit more of an older established home. I love that my curtains are in the ceiling. This game is flawless. The thing is, my curtains are in the ceiling as well as in the floor. So like there's no winning with these. Let's go back to the walls and discuss some good art that we could put in here. I don't really have a lot of walls open for art, but that's okay. I'll show you some stuff anyway. I'm sure you're familiar with Hampton style art. So where can we actually find stuff like that in the game? Great question. This painting from Tiny Living actually has these leaf prints, which I think work splendidly with the style. I don't know if they're gonna fit in here super great. Oh, this could work though. If I scale them down to my bracket key, place them above my piano, and just use my little recolor to make sure I have my little leaves how I want them. Isn't that lovely? There's also, of course, this cats and dogs painting. There are, of course, lots of swatches you can place individually, but you can also place them all together as a nice big group. You can place 4 of them and use your recolor tool to recolor them. So top to bottom, left to right, like so, and it'll all line up. This last swatch set is probably the best example of how this all works together. So there's like a nice little landscape painting. Pretty much what you want to look for are some natural and seaside inspired low contrast, not something like this where we have a lot of contrast happening. This would be low contrast, but it's a bit on the dark side. This one's quite bright. This, great colors. The shapes are a bit more modern, but it could work. I don't know if any of this is making sense. Here's another good example of a very high contrast painting, which we would not want to use. Dream Home Decorator has some nice stuff as well. These a bit softer. A lot of these are lower contrast, some water themes. So these would be some good options as well. Well, some of them. Or something like this. That looks like it'd be in a rich person's house. I feel like this is a good spot for a grandfather clock, so I'm going to interrupt real quick to put one over here. Yeah. Remember that overall we want to keep a fairly airy feeling, which means things are going to be more spaced out and it's not going to be densely cluttered. Bob the plant. Adorable. Bob the plant can live right here on my table. He is a great example of a plant. However, I'm not going to add now a bunch of books and magazines and other clutter items on the table because I want it to feel open, clean, but still lived in. These grasses, great colors, great texture, layer that in. You know what? I might even stick that back here. Small decorative sculptures will work well as well. This little llama is adorable. Pottery would be a good selection. Little sculptures like this little cat, this little dog. Not all of them all at once. I also am going to bring this basket back again because it makes me angry, so it gets to live here now. I might have to do a little bit of move objects magic, so I'm going to move this fireplace away from the wall. And then since I have move objects on, my items will just sort of float in the air and I can place them where I want them, then put the fireplace back. There we go. And now they're just sitting up there chilling. While there's definitely arguably still space for clutter, I don't want to add too much and make it feel too compacted. I'm even considering getting rid of one of these armchairs and switching this around to be more like this. I think I'm gonna put a little notebook here on this table, make it feel like it's doing something, being useful, maybe a mug as well. I really like this plant as well because of the vase that it's in. I think it's a bird of paradise, but I don't think it's going to fit very well in here. We might have to save that for a later room. Okay, let's talk about pillows before we move on to the next room because I'm sure you're wondering how those work. I'm actually just gonna search for pillow because I don't remember which category they are in. There is one pillow with the Modern Luxe kit, I think that's the little lamp one, as well well as this one, which was an unlockable something something. Anyway, here's how pillows work. There are not slots on sofas for pillows, so to use them on furniture, you are going to have to turn on move objects. If you don't already have move objects turned on, press Ctrl-Shift-C to open up your little cheat bar and type in bb.move objects on. When you press enter, you should get a confirmation. Once that's on, you can grab your pillow and press the 9 key or whatever other control is on screen to raise your pillow 4 times. Here's why you're going to raise it 4 times. Is it still kind of clipping in at the base? Yes. But if we raise it again, it's floating, which is worse. So we're just going to raise it 4 times. And then you can hold Alt to move it and rotate it to wherever you want it to be. So this one again, I'm going to raise 4 times. I'm actually going to press my bracket key once to size it down and tuck it there. And now we're starting to add some pillows to our couch. Isn't that great? And yes, your Sims will be able to still sit here and all that jazz. It is crazy how much a few pillows really help warm up a space, isn't it? So now kitchen, same deal. I'm just going to delete everything real quick. And I hate that the windows are the way that they are. So once again, I'm going to scooch them all up a bit, and I'm going to go ahead and add a few more windows to my back wall here and get rid of this one because it's gross. Repaint them white. I'll get some lights in here as well. For the kitchen, I opted to put the beams running this direction so that they wouldn't get in the way of the cabinets. So this is the spandrel method. The cats and dogs one works pretty well. The Seasons one is my personal favorite. So the cats and dogs has a little bit more detail to it. The Seasons one is quite simple, which I like. And these will show during a gameplay if you play with walls up like I do, but if you have walls partially down or fully down, then they shouldn't get in your way and will just look really nice in screenshots. Another thing to be aware of with the spandrels is they will affect how your rooms are being painted. So I'm gonna hold shift to paint this whole room, except it's actually kind of multiple separate rooms. If I show you some of the kitchens I have on my Pinterest board, you can see that there are a lot of more traditional Hamptons kitchens with lots of that white on white on white, the high gloss, but some of the newer designs actually take a lot more fun colors as well, which is lovely to see. So we can go either direction here. These base game cabinets would work fine. The Parenthood cabinets would work all right as well. The Dream Home Decorator has 2 separate cabinet sets, both of which would work just fine, provided you were able to find a color that actually worked well for you. The escargot counter is pretty nice. Because I'm going a bit more modern with my shapes today, I thought that I would use the Home Chef Hustle. And I'll put my fridge over on this side and my stove over here, I believe. Yeah, I think that'll work out all right. Go ahead and use the stuff from the pack because then it'll match, blah, blah, blah. And I'm also going to grab a tall cabinet to place over here. Do a normal size cabinet here and an end cabinet. And grab a range hood. Using that pack quite a bit, but I think it's a nice little kitchen. Now, because these homes are generally so very large, it's really, really common to have casual dining in the kitchen and less casual dining elsewhere. My kitchen's not very large, so I'm just going to use these 2 end pieces of my island to make a small island, and that is going to be it for that. We have lots of great bar stool options though. If we wanted to go a little bit more rustic and colorful, these stools from Cats and Dogs are lovely. This one would work. This one could arguably work if it came in better colors. This is a nice simple stool as well. Lots of options. I think I'll go with the blue over here. Also, I think I want tile. So tile options. What can we do here? We want simple shapes, but we don't want the overall design to be simple. And we want classic silhouettes, but we don't want it to be too modern or too old-fashioned. Timeless. Timeless is a good word. So nice, simple tile shape, right? This tile, the shape is fine, but the pattern is a little bit too much. This one, basic shape and basic layout, a little bit too basic. My personal favorite is this one. I really like the herringbone, and it also comes in this nice blue if we wanted to bring some color into our kitchen over here. It's a little bit bright for me, so I'm going to stick with the white and bring in other colors through other means. Before I clutter though, I of course want to take care of my dining area, and this feels like a good spot to use a round table, so I might do that, but we could use a rectangle or an oval just as easily. This one is from Horse Ranch, that would work pretty well, or this one from Jungle Adventure has a nice classic pedestal base. I think I'm leaning a little bit too modern here, so I want to bring in some more texture with the dining chairs, or a more interesting shape if I can. So some more texture with a woven chair like this maybe, or oddly enough Jungle Adventure again with a slightly more timeless shaped chair. It's a little bit light, all the wood tones are kind of blending together, but we can fix that pretty quickly with a rug. So let's take a look at our rug options again. And I'm not against bringing in some of those leaf shapes. I also kind of like this rug. It's a little bit more on the ornate side, but I'm just thinking in contrast with the very modern kitchen, it might work okay. What else was I doing over here? Oh, I was gonna grab some more curtains. So just ignore that the curtains are going through the beams in the ceiling. Look, the curtains are in the ceiling, the curtains are on the ceiling. What's going on here? I would like to say that once again, I have already done up these spaces to prepare for the video, and then I start recording the video and I have other ideas or stuff doesn't seem to quite work out the way it was working out before, and now I'm trying to figure out what on earth is going on with these windows. I'm tempted to just get rid of them. I'm just gonna copy the window that's over here. Alright, I'm sorry, I couldn't. Okay, what else can I bring in here? I know something else that I want to bring in. I would like to get rid of these lights. These just little pendant lights are pretty nice. I was thinking about putting these over here above my little island, but then over here, due to our stunning lack of chandelier options that are remotely decent, I thought it'd be fun to add these little basket lights. I also believe that a nice sideboard piece over here would be great. I was looking at this one from Cats and Dogs, which is alright, and if this one didn't light up, I think it'd be perfect. I also, oh no, here it is. I was like, I swear we had one that had all the like lines up and down the front, like little corduroy. It's not actually corduroy, obviously, that would be silly, but that's the vibe I get from it. Anyway, I'm gonna put that here. What if we put a mirror to the side and then I look a little bit harder for some good art? I want to bring in some more vintage feeling clutter objects, I think, to balance out all of the modern stuff that I keep getting drawn to. Oh, I know what could go here. Maybe we do that. Clutters. I, of course, still need something for the table. I think a nice bouquet would be lovely. Maybe we go with those. I feel like we need something over here, and my first thought is a chair. However, we'll see if there are actually any that work. Actually, I keep forgetting we have pillows that might be okay with a pillow. Sure, why not? And I think I'm just gonna go with another plant because I don't know what else to do. I could add a few clutter items to the kitchen. I brought the beams in because I thought I was done and then I realized I wasn't. So once I have a collection of items, I'm going to move objects magic. So I'm going to pull this away and then hold Alt to actually place these items where I want them to be, and then put my counter back. And there we go. Isn't that cute? We'll add a bowl of fruit, of course. So this is where I'm at currently. Let's go ahead and finish this floor out by adding in Decorista's rooms so we can contrast and compare. So I'm just going to look up Decorista, and we have this little bathroom here. And she also redid this office space. Again, kind of sticking with more modern, timeless shapes, but trying to layer in some other stuff like this highly textured wall piece. Very nice, especially when you compare it to the more simple furniture. I think it looks pretty good in here. Also, where's this bookshelf from? Oh, interesting. That's a very nice bookshelf. And then this bathroom, which is just nice and small, neat and tidy, lovely. You can probably hear the air conditioner, but that's because it's approximately 7,000 degrees. Let's look at the upstairs. I'm going to be doing these two rooms over here, and the hallway and second bedroom were actually redone by Decorista, so we will bring those in after the fact. Once again, gonna just delete everything real quick, start fresh. Now with this bedroom only being 4 tiles deep and having a large door on this side, I am pretty limited to where I can put the bed. But typically in a bedroom you'd have a little bit more space to play around and add more furniture, as again this is usually a home that's pretty large. Now once again we are looking for timeless classic shapes that feel a little bit expensive, nothing too bold and crazy, maybe a little bit of coastal flair and some nice texture. There are of course countless beds in the game that could work, depending on which specific direction you're going with, whether it's more traditional Hamptons, more modern Hamptons, maybe you're blending it with something else. Something I was excited about was we could actually use a 4-poster bed in here and it would totally work. So I was thinking about using this one from For Rent with the blue swatch. And you can see how much of the space has already been taken up by the bed. I also wanted a dresser. Again, a lot of great options. We're looking for a classic shape, a little bit of texture, something that feels like it could cost quite a bit and last for a few generations. Or pretty much anything in white, honestly, you could probably make work. I thought about this one, but it's a little bit more industrial and on the contemporary edge than I'm trying to go for here. However, if you did want to go more modern, this one would be a nice option. This is a good traditional dresser here from Cats and Dogs, and I'm actually going to go with Parenthood today. First of all, I can get the wood tones to match, which is great. Second, it's a 2-tile dresser, but it lets me scooch the bed a little bit closer to the window. Also, did I talk about walls before or after I furnished downstairs? I don't remember, but before we block more of the walls, let's talk about them. This paneling is from, I believe, Cats and dogs. Yeah, which is totally fine. We could stick with this one. It's got some yellows, it's got some blues. Of course, we could go with a solid color again, either a blue or a blue, maybe even a blue. White or gray, of course, are also options, but I was thinking it could be fun to show off some other textures. Now, this is a little more Art Nouveau, but I almost went with it just because it looks so pretty, and I feel like it could work pretty well with some of what we've got going on in here. More paneling from cats and dogs. Now, Decorista did say that this one could work for this style. I still don't like it. I'm not a fan of that wallpaper. The banana leaves could potentially work, although this particular swatch is a little bit on the dark side. I'd probably use this one. Another one of my favorites was this blue paneling from Bowling Night? Sure, that sounds right. There are also these slats from Spa Day, or if you really wanted to bring in some rustic flair, this starboard from just the base game is nice. It only comes in this one swatch though. This is another rustic option, which is from whatever the pack with the pumpkin is. There's also pinstripe grains, which is again base game. Now, because I can, I think I might go with this white paneling on these walls, but then bring some more depth to this wall by going with the slightly busier pattern in the darker blue, and then breaking this up with a bookshelf and some other dresser, I think. Now, when I was prepping for this, it looks like I used this bookshelf, but it doesn't fit, so I don't know what I did. Maybe I'll just use this one from Cats and Dogs instead. There, I think the white breaks that up nicely, and I'll grab some pictures over here. And I want to use these here for a couple of reasons. They're nice and white, which I think will work well against this darker wall, especially since I decided to paint the dressers as well. And I can have them at close to the same height as the rest of the furniture, which just sort of boxes everything in together. I think I talked about lamps downstairs, but I'll talk about it again here. Some of the key elements of the style, of course. Timeless, looks expensive, nice finishes, not too modern so that it looks like it could go out of style, and not so vintage looking that it is out of style. Also oversized. So The Sims is good at that. Sims is good at having lamps and whatever that are just a little bit on the large side. This is a great place to use those. And do you think the giraffe is a little much? Nah, I'm sure it's fine. I also want to be careful with clutter so that it looks nice and stylish and not necessarily cluttered. I think a couple of books there will be fine, and I'd love some sort of small decorative sculpture over here. That'll work. Now over here in this corner we can look at our living chairs. I feel like this rocking chair would actually be really nice in here. Should I go for the blue or should I go for a brighter color or just white? I know that these are picky, the rocking chairs, as to when they're going to work and when they're not going to work, so hopefully that works. And I wonder if I can put a pillow on that. It'll probably look kind of silly when your sim is rocking in it, but oh well. For a side table over here, I do want something that's a little bit more fun, just because, believe it or not, I am trying to make this a little bit more colorful and eclectic than down here, which is leaning heavy into the modern. So I've brought a little bit of that in with some of the shapes over here, and I want to keep that more vintage, whimsical vibe going on this side. I wonder if this could work, or if it's just going to be a little bit too much. And see, like, this table is oversized, but it's so oversized it makes my chair look like a child's chair. So in order to keep my chair looking like a normal sized chair, or even a little bit large, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more careful about my table selection. I like this one because it's got a little bit of the Art Deco, so Art Deco's vintage. I know, crazy. It feels like it just happened. But modern colors, and this kind of reminds me of a seashell, and I'd like to bring in a few more nautical elements here as well, so I think this could actually work for us today. I feel like that would actually look pretty nice back there. Let's see. Whoop. If I move my chair, I have to move the pillows as well. Now for wall decorations, I would like to put something with some interesting texture on this wall. Some fishing. Oh, that is enormous. Okay. Can we make it smaller? That's actually kind of cute though. I was also thinking about adding an extra door over here just because I feel like having an extra entrance to the bathroom might be nice. And we can't really use this tile for any bathroom furniture anyway because it's the end of the hallway, so I think that that'll work okay. And that further separates out this space. Speaking of, I think I still need a rug. I suppose I should probably add a rug under the bed as well. I think I'll just go for a simple rug under here. That'll be nice. And I still would like some art over here. I feel like the ship wheel from Cats and Dogs would be a good option. There we go. Nautical and stuff. So there's me trying to go for slightly more traditional shapes. And now for the bathroom. I'm definitely going to want some tile, so let's talk about some tile options. You could just go with something super basic like this, but it does read as a little cheap. We do have this tile, which matches the tile that we were using downstairs in the kitchen, but that might be too busy if I'm going to go with a tile on the wall as well. So I think I'm going to stick with some larger, like, luxury type tiles in here. There's some nice options in stone as well. If this came in white, I would be using that day and night. However, it does not. Oh, I guess we could do this pattern pattern as well. No, I like this one. Wall tiles, we already covered a couple of these. So there's the herringbone, white, blue, maybe even a green. There's something a little bit busier and slightly more modern like this from Spa Day. I'm trying to make the wall camera thing stop bouncing around, but who knows. These tiles or these tiles from Parenthood could work for you as well. They're not going to work for me today, but they could work for you. Little Art Nouveau, but you could probably use this tile from Realm of Magic, or check out this Art Deco tile. Ooh, I like that one. But before we pick a tile, did you know you could also go with paneling? Not that paneling, I clicked the wrong one. You could also go with paneling, or even a paneling wallpaper combo. This one's one of my personal favorites. I would probably prefer this more if it was on a taller wall height, because then more of the wallpaper would show. I might go with this one from Growing Together because it goes with my wallpaper paneling over here pretty well. I might have to switch out my floor though for it to match better. I know I said I probably wasn't going to go with these tiles, but I'm tempted. We'll see if they stick or not. Now, as a refresher, here are some of the images that are on the Pinterest board. You're going to notice that these bathrooms have one thing to their advantage that we do not have today, and that is sheer size. We are not working with a very large bathroom today by comparison. However, that doesn't mean we can't make the most of it. So we should still be able to fit a tub shower combo, a double vanity, and a toilet in here comfortably. I'm going to put the toilet over here in the corner below the window because reasons. The reason being that's just where it worked best when I was testing this. No, did I put this on the wrong wall? Oh, that's right, I had it over here. There we go. So this is just because it's obviously the most luxurious of our combo units. We could go for some vintage cabinets to place sinks in, or actually look at some of our standalone sink options. I almost like this one from Cats and Dogs, except that's the only swatch I really like. The rest of them are just a little bit too aggressive. I have the same feelings about this one and this one. This one from Growing Together is pretty nice. It's more on the modern side, but it has enough of classic elements that I think it could work pretty well in the space. Apologize again for the camera. The color options are a little limited, so it depends on what your finishing choices are going to be. And this one from For Rent as well, I feel like has some really good potential depending on what specific direction you're going with the style. Now for the mirrors, I touched on this already a bit, but we're looking for classics, maybe some texture, nice metals, nothing too crazy. And I saw a lot of round mirrors. I'd love to use this over a double vanity, but we don't have space. This one would be pretty nice. This nice round one, although it is frameless, I'd prefer to have a frame. And we could always bring this one from Growing Together back into the mix. It's a little bit low, but I can raise it by pressing 9. Now this wall is looking a little busy. I wonder if I can find a paint that matches. What do you think? Place your bets now. Okay, I found two good options. There's this one, Essence of Pastel, which has the baseboard. It's not an exact match, but it is pretty close. And there's also this one, Stucco on You, which is from the base game. Not quite a right match, but some of the darkest parts are really, really close, and I really like the texture, so I think I'll use that one on this wall. Changing my mind on the floor once again, because I'm me, I decided to go with this one from the Home Chef Hustle Kit, or pack, whatever the heck it is, who knows. And these base game towels that have little like sea stars and seashells and whatever on them just seem perfect. So let's grab those. And I guess we should probably grab some toilet paper, huh? I also think a little rug in front of the tub would be great. I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna keep this light over here and put another one over here in the hallway, so that'll be nice and bright. So that's what I have. Let's grab Decorista's rooms and compare and contrast, shall we? Well, I feel like I'm on the right page because we use the same bookshelf. So here are our two bedrooms. I did not put in a ceiling fan because I opted for the 4-poster bed. So there's a lovely bedroom there. This hallway though, I love. So this is bringing in some of the yellow, which is a newer color as far as the history of the style goes, and it's looking good. So if you're looking at the blue and you're just not a blue person and you prefer some yellow or some green, you can make that work for you as well. The last space I want to work on is the outside back here. Now, I think a pergola would be great, and there are a few options in the game. There are these two from Island Living. This one's definitely more timeless. This one feels a little more coastal and breezy with the curtains. This wrought iron piece is beautiful. This is from the new pool something kit. I'm not sure if this would go well in your space or not, but if it's the only one you have, it could work. And then this one is from Growing Together. Nice and simple, so depending on what else you have going on, that could be good. Of course, we're going to build our own today. I'm going to start by building a room where I want my little pergola to be. I think that should be good. You're going to draw where you want your beams to be. I'm going to use the same ones I was using inside. I'll apply that everywhere, get rid of this, and there we go. Granted, it is floating, so I will want to add some columns. My favorites are the experienced pillars. I can shift and click to place those wherever I want, and if they ever don't place quite right, click on them again again, and then it'll do whatever it's supposed to do. For example, they're not showing up with the little arms on the side, but if I click it, the little arm things will show up. They're not actually called arms. And I'm gonna get some nice stone for down here. You could go with stone, tile, decking, whatever suits your general location. I was thinking about these rock stone pavers just because they're nice. And then I can just go ahead and connect my little path like that. I think that'll be good. Before we furnish that, I was also thinking about a pool. A pool would make a lot of sense in a backyard of one of these. Now, because we want space and luxury and all that jazz, I don't know if you necessarily want to add all of these elements to one backyard, but adding one or two of these elements to your backyard, or all of them if you actually do have a massive backyard, could be good. So, pool for demonstration purposes, pergola for demonstration purposes. Also, a fire pit area would be really lovely. We have a couple little fire pits. We also have a couple of big ones. So there's this bonfire fire pit thing with Bigfoot on it. This actual little campfire. My favorite though was this one from the Poolside Riviera kit. It just looks so timeless and classy. Now in the pool, my options are going to be the same as everywhere else for stone or tile. So I'm just going to grab what I was using inside and place it in the pool. This would also be a great opportunity to add some lights and whatnot. You can go into this little log here, outdoor water decor, and go into pool objects, and this will give you all sorts of lights and floaties and ladders and all those good things. Now this steam vent, I believe, warms the pool, so a heated pool sounds super fancy. And I'm going to add some of these lights as well, I think. So here's how this would look at night, fairly well lit up. I'm also going to add a ladder, because these people are nice, apparently. Ooh, a diving platform would also be great. What a great excuse to use all of these different pool objects. I'm gonna add a nice floating lounger as well over here. Maybe put a couple of candles next to it. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. And for this area, I would like for this to be more of an outdoor dining bar type space. And the particular bar I had in mind was the one from the Oasis Lux kit. This one, the sand bar. There's also this one, which is just super clean and modern from the wedding something something kit pack. I also like this one from the party pack. It's much more modern. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this one here. I'm gonna grab my same bar stools. Because this is such a coastal design, it stands to reason that you should be able to have very similar, if not the same, furniture indoor and outdoor, if that's something that floats your boat. I also kind of want to close this in a little bit, not a ton, just a smidge. So I'm going to pick a fence that will work for me. This craftsperson fence might be good. Help it feel a little bit more closed off and homey. Let me see, which swatch are you? You're swatch number 2, and that should nestle right on in there. Super duper cozy. I really like this pack for the outdoor furniture here. I think it's backyard stuff, just because it has the woven texture, you know, that we've been talking about, so that's pretty nice. Although I specifically want the table that catches fire. This one. Well, it doesn't catch fire, it's supposed to be on fire, but whatever. Add a nice rug, and that should be good to go. I'm realizing now I don't have space for lounge chairs, so looks like our whole backyard is going to be a patio. We have got options, and honestly, I could see any of these working. I think I'll put a couple of those over there, and I think we have sun umbrellas with seasons. Let's see. Oh, we have a few actually. Now, unfortunately, you do have to have move objects on in order to place this properly, like to actually be over your chairs. Another thing that could be nice to have for like a little outdoor space would be actual planters to plant your little plants in. Plus, we don't really have to have that many planters. We can just place a few and then fill in the rest of it with plants. It can look like a nice little garden space, and you don't have to actually have that many plants to maintain. Seasons also has some pretty nice outdoor furniture. I think these chairs would work pretty well over here, as well as the chairs that complement our sofas over here. There are some indoor chairs that could work, like this stool from For Rent, this chair from High School Years, this one also from For Rent, this one from Growing Together could also work. It kind of looks like an egg, but I like that it has the pillow and it has some outdoor furniture vibes. This one from Jungle Adventure, if you switched up the swatch, could be nice. So there's our Hamptons inspired backyard. Obviously, I need to do a little bit of terrain paint because otherwise I'm not going to be able to live with myself. Not to be dramatic, of course. And no, I'm not going to really be changing the landscaping today. We do that usually in the build videos, and since this is more of a decorating video and I'm trying to keep the series more separate so as to make the tools just better and more accessible overall for all of you guys, I am going to keep some lines between the series. Speaking of, if you enjoyed this or have any feedback, or if you'd like to join me for a future video, please let me know in the comments down below. You can also connect with me through the Discord, which I highly recommend joining. That's where you can find any current collaborations going on, and even if you're not interested in collaborating and just want to provide feedback on ongoing or upcoming projects, also a great place to do that. So I will upload the full build, but I will also be uploading each individual room, except of course for Decorasta's rooms, which would be available over over on their gallery. All of that information will of course be linked down below. So to recap, in essence, the Hamptons style is all about timeless, expensive beachside, seaside style without being too beachy, too sandy, too bright and colorful. Lots and lots of neutrals or borderline neutrals like soft greens and blues, timeless shapes, classic combinations, and lots of texture layering as much as you can. That's difficult in The Sims because we don't have throw blankets and we barely have throw pillows that kind of don't even function. But mixing up the different textures in your materials more than the colors can still add a lot of depth and interest to a space, even when you're a little bit handicapped in the palette department. You'll have to let me know what you think of these befores and afters. Oh, also generally oversized and lots of space between stuff as much as you can. While decorating is very important and adding little clutter items can really sell the expensive tastes of the homeowners, you don't want to go too heavy on the clutter because then it will just look cluttered, and you really want to leave some space and help it look clean and bright and open and fresh, as much as rich people live here and vacation here and they think that they're super duper cool because their house looks like this. And that's why most of the hotels you see have this style. It's just become associated with vacation, relaxation, luxury, and expensive stuff. And that's the end of our very first Design Like a Nerd video. Your feedback is so important to me, especially when we try out new videos. So if you have anything to say at all, or if you have nothing to say at all, no notes, also great. Please leave that down below in the comment section. Thanks again to the Decorista, whose channel information you can also find down below in the video description. And if you want to test out this style, I highly recommend clicking on one of these two videos here. These two styles are found frequently in areas where the Hamptons sort of originated, so you are going to love those homes. Thank you so much for designing with me today, and I look forward to building and designing and doing all sorts of stuff with you guys very, very soon. Bye!